Hi, I'm Lisa Walton and welcome to Quilt Stories. Today I'm going to be talking to Sue de Vanny, and Sue's work has been wowing everybody. Everybody that sees it, you see them going up really, really close and they want to know how it's done. And so Sue has very generously agreed to come and chat to us today about one of her quilts. Welcome, Sue.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you for having me. It's an honour.
This should be fun. This is a new venture for me, and I just know that people love to know how quilts are made. So I just thought I'd do a series of talking specifically about award-winning quilts. So I'm going to be talking today about one of Sue's quilts that is called On Reflection from Town Harbour. And I'm going to do a screen share, and we're going to talk about Sue's quilt. I love that photo of you.
It's one of many I try to take. Well, normal.
It's dreadful. This whole self-image thing is really hard when you're trying to take photos.
It is, isn't it?
So here is the quilt in all its glory, and it's magnificent. The reflections of the water are just really, really beautiful. I love it. It's a really strange
subject.
Subject is the word I'm groping for.
Yeah,
So I'd like you to tell us a little bit about how you did it. So,
okay, so this is the original image, and what it was, we were in Cape Town in South Africa. It was our 25th wedding anniversary trip, and anyway, Carl, we'd already had about 2.5 weeks. This is sort of a bit of a backstory, but we already had 2.5 weeks, and we finally got to Cape Town, and Carl got sick, as you do when you go overseas. So he was in bed with a cold, flu, what have you. Anyway, we were fortunate enough to have a hotel room over Victoria Albert Harbour, and I couldn't get my eyes off these harbour fenders. I just thought that the light and everything, it was just so interesting, and I just find quirky things in harbours and things like that I just really like. It's not the flowers and leaves as much as I like them. It's these tyres and chains and boats and stuff like that. So anyway, I took a series of photos, and this is one of my favourites. And a challenge came up about reflection, and I'm very literal when it comes to challenges, but I like this one. I thought it was a good excuse to do this one.
Absolutely.
So that was, yeah. So that was.
How many photos
did
you take on that trip, Sue?
Oh, 8,500.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And I've still got most of them. So anyway, the way I operate is I try and blow it up and sketch it and what have you, but I actually wanted to do one tire in a class I was doing, and that didn't work out well. So I pulled it all apart and started again, but with 2 tires or 2 harbour fenders. And
so
this was it.
A very close-up image. The texture of the fabric looks quite open. So what was the base fabric?
It's calico. Just
Okay.
Calico. Yes. And this was actually the first one, because I normally do a pattern on calico and then it's cut out and put on base fabric. But this one actually, because I wanted all the background in it, I actually just ended up working on calico and just collaging the whole thing.
Okay, so
and it was
did you trace it?
Yes, I traced it from my drawing.
Okay.
And even then, I'm impatient and I don't trace things properly. I can't even do that. So it was really difficult when I was putting my pieces on, because I don't seem to follow the line.
That's fine.
That's why I'm better off drawing, because I think I get a more accurate a representation when I draw, rather than I just get bored tracing and copying something. Yeah, and then doing this, when it came to stitching all those threads in the tires, I nearly threw it in the bin so many times. It was, I had to count them, and then by the time you've counted the threads and know what you're working on, you'd forgotten what you're working on. So you have to go back and it was hell.
There's obviously a lot of snipping and collecting fabric. Do you have an enormous stash?
I do, and a lot of it's yours actually, Lisa.
I'm not complaining about that. My snipping. So you're using those, I haven't used those scissors. I can see they're those funny.
Yeah, I use them, and I've got another pair of scissors. It's just sort of like a fine sort of snippet thing. This isn't the big duckbill scissors. These are the smaller, cheap ones. They're just cheap ones.
Okay.
But yeah, I just find them easy to use and what have you. Yeah, you can see there is the 2 tires, and there was something wrong with the composition, and I knew there was something wrong because just the way, by the time it ends up being cut up, the centre of it is right in between those 2 tires, and it just was wrong. So I actually cropped it a lot to the final piece.
Right. Now I have to ask you a question. It was driving me mad when you sent me these photos. What are all those brown bottles just up at the top?
Oh, that's the glue.
Oh, okay.
Because I think this was one of my last ones. I actually glue all my pieces down like Susan Carlson.
Okay.
But I don't anymore.
Right.
So I glue them down, but not heavily. And this was one of my last ones where I actually glued down everything.
So you've got a lot of glue there.
Yes, yes. I used to also sell it, when I was teaching, I used to actually sell it because people would come up and didn't know what type of glue, and I actually it's Aileen's tacky glue.
Okay.
And it's one you can use and it doesn't seep through the fabric.
Great.
So.
Okay. And my problem here is I have this wonderful slideshow, but I can't see what the next slide is, so I'm just going to hit the button.
Oh, okay. I'll tell you each time. So, yeah, this is the you can see, you know, my happy slapdash of fabric. I do it like I paint. It's like the blocking in when you're painting, doing an oil paint or an acrylic paint, and then, you know, you're putting in the details over the layers. And this is where I'm losing my original drawing, and I have to refer to the photo. But yeah,
yes,
it's a mess.
No, not at all. Just as a bit of background, you were actually a painter before you were a textile artist.
Before, and still am. Yeah.
Oh, yes, yes, I know. I've seen some of your beautiful paintings as well, but it certainly shows through in this work. So
yeah, and I guess I understand it. Yeah, I guess I understand it more this way. I also piece quilts as well, but when I do this, I really enjoy, I guess, painting fabric. I suppose it's what you'd call it, because it is not being precise. Yeah.
Okay.
So
got lots. I love the bottle top fabric. I think that's really fun.
Yes. Well,
and the tape.
I've got so fabric. Much of that.
Oh, okay.
And the what?
The tape measure fabric as well.
Yes, that's all Tim Holt's fabric.
Okay.
And I love his stuff. It's real grungy, so it works well with some of the stuff I do.
But it's really interesting that you put it in a quilt like this, which is completely unrelated, and it works. It's great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's it's different, and it actually, that's what I like about this. I can give it another dimension without trying to paint it in, because it more is more, and if you can sort of hide it and then realise it's there, because I just found that with quilters, with a painting you stand back and look at it, but with quilters you actually stand back and look up, and then they look up close, the stitching.
Yes, they do. And I hadn't realised, but of course you are covering up your drawing, and so having to refer to the photo all the time. So you don't do like 2 versions of your tracing.
No, I did in the end with the treads. I ended up actually trying to draw again. I'll trace it on again on that, what's that gold paper that you sew over and pull out? I don't know what it is, but anyway, it's like a tissue paper. Okay. And it's like, after nearly throwing it out, I'm thinking I wasn't coping, and I actually did the treads like that. But even then, it wasn't matching up with my actual, where I put my fabrics either. So, well, nothing was working. So I just had to fudge it in the end.
Okay. So here we've got the tyres finished, a bit of the water, and then this big lump of blue.
Yes, yes. Actually, I did. Now I'm looking at this, I did actually cut it out, but I only put the blue. Isn't it funny? I've forgotten I've done that. And
No,
I've actually put the blue in and
Yeah.
must have made up the rest of the background with that blue.
Yep.
There you go. So
Oh,
it wasn't totally collaged.
no.
And so here I've started the thread sketching. And
Okay.
you can see, sorry.
No, talk about it, please.
Yeah. So I've started the thread sketching and trying to work out where the white bits are on the threads so you get that dimensional look. And it was, oh, God, it was a nightmare. I really regretted this.
Oh, no, not at all. The combination of those pinks against the black and the greys is really interesting. You're a Bernina girl?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Q20 now, yes.
As do I. You convinced me.
Yes. Oh, it's a fantastic machine.
It's
So,
not
yeah,
a
you
perfect
can see
machine. Okay.
Yes.
So here is the photo, and so this is you trying to work out where to quilt.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is, I think all the thread sketching is just about done there. Yeah, it is. And this is where I was trying to decide, because you can see, well, actually the middle of the quilt is that chain, and it's sort of like a dark line, and it's contrast to the in between of the two ties. There was something I saw in it and I thought it wasn't right. And yeah, I knew I had to edit it, and I didn't want to. I didn't know where I wanted to edit it, and I ended up cutting off part of the right-hand side tire, which is really sad.
All that work.
I know, it was all those threads that I was doing.
Okay, so this is from the back, I presume.
That's the back, because I just find that so interesting. Sometimes you look at the back and you think, oh, I am stitching in the right place. It looks like a picture.
So this is what you call thread sketching, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you can definitely see the picture, and you just, for want of a better term, just sort of jiggle.
Yeah,
Quilting.
it is. It's literally scribble.
Yeah.
It's scribble. Funny, I do it so easily. And one thing you can't do, I can't be in the mode to do this and then think, oh no, I've got to go and quilt something else, because it's like all I want to do is jiggle.
Okay.
It's funny, whereas quilting is such a smooth motion and everything like that, and it's, I don't know, it's just a really weird thing, because you're in a totally different mode, thread sketching to quilting.
Okay, so you break your work up into these two types of quilting, the thread sketching, and so you do the thread sketching first, yes?
Yes, thread sketching first, and this is actually got stabilizer on the back.
Okay.
Now, because it's only on fabric, so you want a little bit of stabilizer. Then I put the wadding and the backing on, and then quilt it.
Okay. Right. Okay. So wadding when you're doing this. So it's
it did actually. The ties did have wadding, which I cut away the excess because I wanted more like a trapunto effect. But all it did was make the quilt really, really stiff, and it was really hard to fold. It folds better now. Really hard to fold and ship off.
Okay, right.
And I've learned I won't do that anymore.
Okay. So these are just some more details. So this is where you started quilting.
Yes, and the quilting isn't like my normal quilting that I'd like to do, only because it was just so detailed already. But I've done where the bottle tops and that are, I've done like a square and a square type motion. It looks a bit.
I'm looking really closely at my thread.
Yeah. You can see it. It's in a light coloured thread.
Yep.
And you can see. I can't point to you because you won't see it.
No, that's fine. I can see it. Yeah.
yeah, it's a square and a square with the bottle tops, and yet on the water it's just a meander going back and forth, back and forth. So, and just giving that watery effect and going down. So it wasn't very exciting at all, but I thought you can hardly notice it. And in the middle of the tyres, a dark thread and densely quilted, so it would sit in flatter than the rim of the tyre.
Right.
So,
okay. So here is the finished quilt.
there it is. And see how I cut off that beautiful end?
Yes. No, I think it's gorgeous. And if you hadn't pointed it out, I wouldn't have known, and either would the hundreds of people that are watching this interview notice as well. We just think it's a really well balanced. I love the tread on the tyres. I think the tread is just amazing. So this quilt has won a few awards. Would you like to tell us?
It has. It's won in the reflections competition that it first was entered into for AQUIP in Victoria. It won, highly commended, I think. Isn't it terrible? Yeah, it was highly commended. And I'm not sure of the way the prizes and everything work for that one. And then it went on, and I put it in the wrong categories in some places, and then it went on to Houston, and I got my first prize at Houston, which was a second in the pictorial.
Amazing.
Which was fantastic.
Yep.
Absolutely fantastic. I never thought in my lifetime I'd win any prize at Houston, but you know.
Well, I'm sure
there you go.
More as well. This is magnificent. Your work I've loved since you started doing these amazing painterly type quilts, and I love watching people go up really close to them at shows, and they really want to know how you did it. And I'm really thankful that you have shared your techniques with us. You've done something that's completely different, because I know you don't teach face to face unless you're dragged kicking and screaming to do that. It's not what you want to do. But in this current time of the virus and everything's going online, you've got a little project, which I'm going to show now, and it's a cushion.
It's a cushion, or it can be anything, but we thought we'll give it a cushion cover, because I've done it sort of a cushion size. But yeah, this is freezer paper piecing, which is another thing I've discovered I don't mind doing.
Great.
It's a bit tedious, but it sort of gets that piecing thing out of me. And I like the look, this modern look of triangles, this polygon look. And anyway, I tried it on something I drew up a couple of years ago, which was a big lioness. And it's only after 2 years of being rejected, it's finally got into something. But I thought, we're getting back to this. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I thought I'd help Leslie Mays out because of the COVID-19 thing. Sales have gone down. You got to support your small businesses and everything like that. So I thought, well, we'll try this online teaching. And for me to be in front of a camera, I don't mind. It's for me to be in front of a whole room full of people, I fear for some reason, because I can talk like no one's business. But anyway, so to do this in front of my own phone and film it is fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Look forward to it. Now, when I look at my screen now, I've unfortunately covered up the email address, and my mouse seemed to want to work to let me move it. But I will be putting all Sue's details in the information section of this video. And so now I'm going to try and stop sharing. And for some reason, my mouse is, there's my mouse. Here we go.
Oh, there we go. Good.
Great.
And this is the real one, so you can sort of see it. I've started quilting it, but I haven't finished it yet.
It's great. It's much bigger than I thought it was going to be. So
yeah, it's a sort of a European cushion cover.
Great. great. No, it's lovely. And the colours, I'm very into orange at the moment. So
yeah,
great.
I've just looked at the quilt behind me as well. It's probably some of the same fabrics.
Yes. Sue does have a website. With your quilts on. So the information for Sue's contact details and everything, good luck trying to get her to teach, but good luck.
Yes, I'm doing what is it, the last tour next year. I'm a bit like John Farnham. You know, people talk to me and they talk me into it, and I'm thinking, oh no.
Well, all your details are in the information section of this video, and I've really enjoyed hearing the words from your mouth, because I wanted to know how you've made these quilts. And
Thank you.
It's been really wonderful. And so I want to thank you so much for joining into my little Quilt Stories project. And I hope everyone else has enjoyed it, and you'll come along and watch more. And please subscribe to my channel down below somewhere. And that way it'll give me inspiration to keep making them. So please subscribe and like this video. And thanks very much, and bye for now.
Bye.